every time I come, the part of Hyderabad that I see, which is starting with the airport and then the hotel and then the offices that I end up visiting, is all a lot of steel and glass, architecture which is beautiful and which reminds me of professionalism. Now, why it reminds me of professionalism is because of an incident, and let me take Somin and Prabhakar's permission to narrate this small incident. It will take 2 minutes. There was this colleague of mine who became an ex-colleague in the sense that she left to join another organization in a different city. When I visited that city, I thought I will visit her at the workplace, mainly because I had heard that this organization she had joined was different. It treated people, employees, talent completely differently. And the way she had described it in an email was that it managed to get the perfect balance between professionalism and humaneness. The two being, contradictory to each other. You can't be humane and professional at the same point of time, being the theory behind it. So I landed up at her office and I asked at the reception for her. Now the professionalism and humanness started the moment I landed up out there, because instead of pushing me into those solitary confinement chambers, which are visitors' waiting rooms, where you have a small room and a table and you sit there waiting for something to happen. So, they said that, you walk through, we'll take you to where she is, and you can meet up with her. So I was escorted, and there was this glass enclosure within which there was this meeting going on, and my colleague was in that meeting. So my guide left me out there and said that she'll be with you. So my colleague, during the meeting, established eye contact and signaled 5 minutes more. So I said, fine, I'll wait. Now, that glass was not so thick to make it soundproof, but thick enough so that you couldn't actually hear what was going on. So I could hear a murmur of voices and, generally hear sounds, but couldn't make out individually what was happening. So there was this meeting going on, and sure enough, after 5 minutes, the meeting started coming to an end. And at the end of the meeting, I suddenly found that everybody rose and looked at my colleague and said, "Hail Mocambo." And I, through the glass, saw my colleague responding, "Mocambo khush hua." Now, I was very intrigued by this India, Mr. India style of working in this organization. So when my colleague came out, I asked her, what was all that about? So she said, what about? So I said, why did everybody say, "Hail Mocambo," and you said, "Mocambo khush hua"? So she said, no, nothing of that sort happened. So I asked her, what happened towards the end, So she said, my colleagues, most of them are from other offices outside India. So they said, hey, let's meet up, catch up, And through that glass, I heard it as, "Hail Mocambo." And she said, yes, of course, we will catch up. And I heard that as "Mocambo khush hua." Now, the point I'm trying to make, and there is a moral in every story, is that the view from outside in is often different from what is the view at the ground level. And that's a very important thing to understand, especially when you are looking at talent and this new ism which is called talentism. Because it's very easy to preach, it's very easy to say something, but it's very difficult to translate it into practice. And the concepts which I'm going to tell you right now, look very simple, but believe me, they are difficult to put into practice. I've put in a simple formula for growth. And once I show you the formula, I'm going to ask you whether you agree with me or not. This formula is innovation. If it is business as usual, then it's okay, but if you want to grow, there has to be innovation, whichever form, process, technology, whatever you say. And there is an environment which when it is at its best, means that innovation is at its best. When the environment is not so good, it detracts from the innovation. This, when multiplied by talent, is growth.